Let me attempt, first of all, this first set of questions. And then it will even give opportunities to others to reframe or ask again or dig further. Dig further, I mean. Let me start with the first question from Emmanuel Obuche of Abuja Enquirer. Am I right? Issue of security challenges and decline in it. And what would like to do differently to secure the nation? I will start from where I am, so as to look into where I want to be, or what we should expect, or what we should expect when I become the Commander-in-Chief. You recall that Kogi State used to be the hitherto crime capital of this country. Today, reverse is the case. I face it frontally. I refuse to politicize insecurity. I will take that particular question along with number 4, that's from Victor Sin. Am I right? Because they are virtually on security. So I'll take the security question all at once. And also I think, and before I go into politics, Mr. Evelyn asked a question about security, manpower, and technology. Mr. Victorson asked a question about me being afraid to tell my president that he did not do well on security, that I want to do more. And also, Mr. Emmanuel Obuche, let me tell you straight away, and take it from me today, that I will never miss words. Mr. President is a man who loves truth and reality. He loves somebody who tells him the truth at all times. He's my president, he's my father, he's our leader. And at all times, I always tell him whatever I observe. And I will let you know that, without missing word, that Mr. President loves this country. No leader, especially at that level, will want his country destroyed. Let me mention a few of his achievements. I'm sure we wouldn't have been able to gather here if it were 2014, 2015, because we'd be afraid of one day or sometimes bomb can detonate. That's happened severally here in Abuja, and close to Abuja, and even far in the northeast. Even at a point, we were even afraid in Lagos that bomb may detonate one day. I considered using bulletproof for the first time after the bomb that took place in Emma Plaza. So that place used to be choked. That's not happening again. That is number 1. Number 2, this insecurity of a thing is not a thing of Mr. President, even though we shouldn't pass buck, because that is why he came on board, or we all came on board. It's a successive failure of various administrations. Let me remind us once again that certain military and police hardwares were non-existent or was last purchased in the administration of President-Yahaya. Even crash helmets. After the incident in Ejibo, is it Ejibo? I don't know. One of these detonation of certain bombs in a Keja cantonment. Did Nigerians ask whether those arms and ammunition that detonated and killed some people, destroyed properties, whether they were replaced. They were purchased for certain purpose. Have we ever asked whether they were replaced since then? Now, after the various decades, the foundation was shaky. Mr. President spent a lot of money in buying a lot of these equipments. Boko Haram have been pushed to the enclaves. Even though we're still having some of these existential challenges, kidnapping and this kind of attacks. But let me tell you, I continue to say this. Mr. President will not sit in the villa and hold AK-47 to come and guide and secure my primary or secondary schools. Mr. President will not sit or come from the villa to come and mount guards on my own roads. The question will be that, then what is he doing as Commander-in-Chief? Some of these crimes that we see today is much more than we are looking at it on the surface. Yes, there are some laxities on the part of some security officials. When last were police or military, really trained their welfare and what have you? It was during President Muhammad Buhari that allowances and salaries were reviewed so many times. Even down to even civil service and corpers. It was during President Muhammad Buhari that those reviews took place. Let me tell you, I will never come out here and point out the flaws. I will never do that. Wherever I observe any loopholes or lapses is between myself and President Muhammad Buhari to let him know. I will never be that governor who will come out here and tell you that President Muhammad Buhari did not come and secure my state. He did not come and secure my schools or my highways. I will not do that. That is why, as the Chief Security Officer of Kogi State, I ensure that I brought rate of crime from the zenith down to the floor in my state. And Mr. President is assisting me to succeed in that area. I am sincere about fighting crimes and criminality. If each and every one of us as chief executives are doing our job the way it should be, Mr. President's job would have reduced drastically. But you know what? I, as Commander-in-Chief, by the special grace of God, I will ensure every chief executives of the various federating units sit up and do their job. I will not tolerate any lackadaisical attitude or passing of buck to the center. I will ensure that the various units are strengthened so that they can take responsibility for whatever happened in their states. Technology needs to be deployed. I agree. Mr. President is doing his best to ensure that technologies are deployed. Majority of some of these crimes we face today are politically motivated. They are, especially the recent ones that we are witnessing. Issue of security can never be brought out to the public and discussed in total. Else you expose your country to danger. Sometimes the way and manner we, the press or the people, want issue of security to be discussed outside. You can't do that as chief security officer or even commander-in-chief. Because sometimes you may be seeing certain crime taking place or certain insecurity taking place. But what was averted or what has been averted in multiples of what has been prevented are in multiples of what you see happening out there. And no government will come out and tell you that one particular big man have been called to order. Certain IEDs or plans to attack, to destroy, to disrupt, the society have been foiled or attacked by such saying, reporting all the successes in security or insecurity will frighten the general public. Nobody will even want to come out. In fighting insecurity, there are so much more that goes on the ground that any responsible government will come out to report to the public. Let's bear that in mind. But I agree with you that a lot needs to be done. I said, as Commander-in-Chief, I will give responsibility. I will give you a task. I will monitor you. I will supervise you. I will credit you. I will give you credit if you perform. And at the same time, I will punish you if you refuse to do your job. So, gentlemen, and sometimes fake news is even the insecurity. Fake news is the insecurity. And sometimes we know exactly those that perpetrate some of these crimes and criminalities but refuse to report. Either because they belong to you religiously or ethnic-wise or otherwise. And we refuse to report. If you don't report, what can you do? In Kogi State, I ensure that every citizen is a law enforcement on themselves. They are intelligence agencies unto themselves. The police, the army, and all other law enforcement agencies we're using in Kogi State today were not manufactured or imported. We didn't import them or bring them from outside to come and secure Kogi State. They are still the same Nigerian police, the same Nigerian army, the same Nigerian Navy, the same Nigerian DSS or civil defense. But because we as a people have chosen to live in peace and in a secure environment, because we in our government, we open our books, we relate and make sure we brought government to the people. They owned it and they decided to protect the government and secure themselves. That was why any crime that takes place in Kogi State, less than 24 hours, will not just detect, we'll make sure we bring them to justice. There are so many things that takes place that we wouldn't have to bring to the table for everybody to know. What is important is let our people be secure. Let them live in peace. And we will continue to do that. I will tell you that Mr. President, like I said, is a man that accepts and believes in the truth. A side issue of insecurity, which I will not disclose to you. Let me tell you one thing that I once disclosed with Mr. President. In the secret. He didn't ask me to tell you, but I'll tell you today. And of course, before I will tell you, you should know that it's an open secret. It's not that secret that I can't tell you. When the issue of to tell you where is my brother, Mr. Innocent? No, Victorson. To tell you that Mr. President is not, it's not a juju that you are afraid to tell him the reality or the truth. When COVID struck, when COVID-19 struck, Before I came out to the public to say I don't want COVID in Kogi State, I had sat down with Mr. President and we had discussed it. And Mr. President, sir, this is my belief about COVID-19. And these and these and these would happen if we key into this COVID business. And all happened. Mr. President believed me. But he urged me to go and secure my state and prevent COVID-19 from coming to Kogi State. That is my immediate responsibility. I returned back to Kogi State and prevented COVID-19 and COVID-19 business from coming to Kogi State. And everything I envisioned about that COVID-19 happened. So many mismanagements of resources and the management of the COVID-19. All the attendant hardship have come to pass. I told him. So I'm letting you know today that Mr. President is such a person that welcomes everybody idea or critic or criticism. So we did that. Likewise, issue of insecurity, I confided in him a lot. And that was why Mr. President had that strong belief in me when the issue of food embargo in this country arose or came on board. He now called me that you are in the middle of this country. You are the young man. You are the ones that can speak the language of the multitude of Nigerians. You are the one that is the north of the south. You are the south of the north. You have borders across almost all the geopolitical zones of this country, with 10 borders, 9 states and FCT making it 10. Nigeria is about to go into trouble. Do something, and as quickly as possible, if possible, within 48 hours to avert this crisis. To the glory of God, within 24 hours, we spoke the language that both parties would understand. And today, we're still living as a united Nigeria. Irrespective of the challenges or the differences we're seeing today. So that is the confidence and trust that Mr. President reposed in me. And that is exactly what I'm displaying. Now, to Mr. Mayowa Adeyemi of Guardian. Issue of my acceptability by the youth, multitudes of Nigerians, and the manner of the last convention, where our leadership was elected, and whether if such will happen in the presidential election, and if it does happen and I am not in favor, how will I tell a multitude of Nigerians that believe in me? I believe and I accept that I chair the mobilization of youth, women, and people living with disabilities in our party. Until tomorrow, I am still the ambassador of youth and younger generations in our party and in government. They believe in me. That was why we were able to mobilize over 41 million Nigerians into our party, and it's still counting. I'm sure you saw what happened last Saturday, on the 2nd of April, where we declared publicly. That was just testing the mind. My dear brother, APC is a party to beat. APC is a party that will still produce the next government after President Muhammadu Buhari. APC would want to win all elections. APC is a party that is strategic. APC is very, very strategic. As a party, we must be stable. As a party, we must be solid. As a party, we need that person or such leadership that have historical memory of how politics or the evolution of politics and governance in Nigeria. And as such, we require such an experienced personality, irrespective of where he or she comes from. Forget about what is put out there as whether zoning or no zoning. What is important is who is that man who will be the leader and put the party together. And that quality was found in His Excellency, distinguished Senator Dr. Abdullahi Adamu. And the party would not want anything, would not want anything that is going to disturb any process whatsoever that is going to make him emerge. By the special grace of God, we had a very rancor-free convention, and we have a solid party today, being led by distinguished Senator Abdullahi Adamu. He happens to come from North Central. So be it. What we want is certain qualities that's going to keep the party together. If the party is not strongly together to produce the next president, vice president, governors, and all other political offices, and we decide to go by sentiment, then we would have been consumed. Today, they wouldn't have been APC. So in the wisdom of the leadership of the party, under President Muhammadu Buhari, and all of us, the governors, leaders, members of the party, we all keyed into that vision of President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure that such a quality personality take charge of the party. Now, will such equally happen? And that was in line with the constitution of our party, the electoral law, and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Even though on the floor or on the ground of the convention, some contestants decided to pull out or step down. Nobody was coerced. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was forced. I'm sure we have not forgotten so soon about a particular political party whose chairman was forced to resign at gunpoint. That didn't happen in APC. And it didn't happen on the convention day to force anybody to step down. In fact, I know how many contestants approached me that they want to step down. And they stepped down one another. And some did not. An election took place. Sorting took place. It was counted, and the result was declared, still in the same convention. That is beauty of democracy. Now, coming to the presidential, APC wants to win the next election. APC is a party that is in search of quality. APC is a party of nothing less than 41 million members. And APC is aware that young man who mobilized over 41 million members into the party. And this mobilization or the membership of the party cut across the geopolitical zones. States, religion, creed, background, or class. And APC knows the body language of the nation today. APC is aware that the youth and women are clamoring for that person who is detribalized, who is coming to solve the insecurity challenges we are faced today. They are aware of that man who is coming to build on the modest achievements of President-Muhammadu Buhari. They know who Nigerians are clamoring for. And they know who is accepted, both by the North and the South, both by Muslims and Christians, even pagans or even non-believers. They know that man that is coming to turn the fortunes of this country around. They know who is that man that can speak the language of the youths and younger generation. And they know that man who have performed well in his state within the shortest possible time he is saddled with the responsibility. If consensus is going to be the option, I don't think APC will go outside Governor-Yahaya Bello. And if otherwise other considerations are put on, forward, that is either indirect or direct, Governor-Yahaya Bello is the man to beat. I am confident, and I trust God Almighty, and I trust the judgment of the leadership and members of my great party, the All Progressives Congress. This time around is the time we must jettison this mundane sentiment of where you come from. If today we are crying foul of some Igbos that are living in Kano, yet they are still looked at as Igbos, not Nigerians. If we still see some houses that are living in Enugu, but they are still seen as a house of people, but not Nigerians. And we're still looking at ourselves as Muslims and Christians. And it is time to bridge that gap and cement that relationship and dwell more on that which unites us more than what divides us. And you have a man that has practiced it and it has become part of our society in Kogi State. And by the special grace of God, put myself forward to be that man that is going to champion the new Nigeria, where all of these sentiments doesn't matter any longer. I don't think we should continue to dwell on that which divides us, which is the zone we come from and whatever, or the religion you practice. I happen to be an Ibrahim. I happen to be a Muslim. I happen to come from Kogi State or North Central or the northern part of the country. But most importantly, I am a Nigerian. I didn't choose to be a Muslim. I was born a Muslim. I didn't choose to be an Ibira man. That is the language I heard my people speaking, and because that is how I was born. I didn't choose to come from Kogi State or from North Central. That is where I was born. But we want to make sure that the language you speak, the religion you practice, and where you come from, by way of origin or whatever it is, does not matter again in our presidency by the special grace of God. And that is what Nigerians and you, the press, should please dwell on and set the ball rolling, set the tone, so that both APC and all other political parties will consider merit if indeed we want to have Nigeria of our dream. Now we go to the issue of economy. The decline in the various statistics that are measures of our performance in this country. Job creation. If you refer to my speech, I think I have a copy here, a few copies that I want you to distribute. I did promise that I will build on what Mr. President has promised of ensuring that Nigerians, nothing less than 100 million Nigerians, are pulled out of poverty by year 2030. That is in about 7 years from 2023, by the special grace of God. The question will be, what have you done in Kogi State? How many millionaires have you made? And I will make bold to tell you that within the limit of our resources, coupled with the various challenges and demands on our resources, we have been able to make nothing less than 2,000 millionaires in Kogi State within this short period. Put aside, figures were reeled out earlier. Mr. President is spending billions and trillions on various social investment programs. Very good. Very, very good. I'll give you a statistics just now. If you have a calculator, just punch it. A millionaire must not necessarily be a Dangote before you call yourself a millionaire. And our government, by the special grace of God, will create that enabling environment that even if you have 1 million, in no time you should be able to turn it around and multiply it. So I'll give you one of the figures of 300 billion that was spent on something. $300 billion that was spent on something. Just take your calculator and punch. If you divide $300 billion by 20 million, you're going to have about $15,000. Multiply that $15,000 by the current exchange rate, you will have over 8 million naira. If we gather 20 million Nigerians and ensure that they have over 8 million naira, and then we revert back to the principle of apprenticeship, which Harvard University have studied, and we must not drop it, of a practice of a segment of this country, our Southeast brothers, whereby they pick either people from the squalor, whatever you call it, or from the rich, or the indigent. And after 5 years, they were settled with about 500 to 1 million. Give them minimum of 2 years. You see them multi-millionaires. If you have such a situation, and we identify various sectors in trade, in agriculture, in manufacturing, petty trading, and we ensure that these various Nigerians have this sum of money. And the task is that you must have minimum of 5 apprentices. Within 2 years or maximum of 5 years, they must graduate. And under close monitoring and supervision, we have pulled out over 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, and it will be counting. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just one statistic, one item that was spent on a particular sector of this economy by the administration. Not to talk of the trillions that were wasted on COVID and several others. You will be convinced that indeed 2023 is the year of restoration of hope for Nigerians. Thank you very much.